Hello everyone, welcome to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel. I began the video with just me writing. I wanted you to see as I go forward to essentially catalog the parts that were a part of the Singer 66. It is very unusual. In fact, I believe this is the only Singer 66 I've never been able to rescue. But what I did rescue were parts from it. And what is great about this, and I've said this in past videos, is that in order to preserve sewing machines, you sometimes need vintage parts. I have purchased these online, and I purchased them from people who did what you've been seeing me do in these last or in this series of videos I call the salvage series. And it can look kind of sad and disappointing. It's like, oh, you know, you could have saved this, you could have saved that. I could have, and I think all of you know how hard I work to try to save things. But the fact is, if you cannot save a specific machine, at least what you can do is preserve its parts to save other machines. And these are necessary. Now, you've heard me mention many times that I like restoring Singers, vintage Singers, because of all the brands. They have more vintage parts, or reproduction parts available, I should say, than literally any other brand. And that's great, but they don't reproduce everything. And if you have something that needs replacing, then you're going to have a vintage part. And again, cataloging is great. I use these freezer bags because they're a little heavier, thicker plastic than sandwich bags. And if you use very thin bags, you might end up getting a hole in the bag, and you're going to lose something like this precious little, tiny barrel screw. I don't even know if we'll even focus in on the camera. I've got some nice sunlight today. Anyway, you really want to make sure that you remember, even with all the machines I have restored, I don't always remember exactly every single part and what it might go to. I have an idea, you know, like the side door here. But remember, even if you know the manufacturer, manufacturers had many, they had many different models, right, with different parts and so forth. So I would highly recommend that you come up with some cataloging system. You may have a better way. If you do, then let me know. Maybe you're doing this better than I am. We all learn from each other. So again, when you see this, remember that other sewing machines will not go into the recycling because I was able to sacrifice the 3 sewing machines you see in this series thus far, right? So I had that Kenmore 158.1941, and you know how much I love them and fight to save them. And I, of course, had a white 940, and the Singer 66 here that you see. And I've restored many of these, but of course, this is now yet the 3rd machine that I've done this to. At the moment, I have no more machines that I think I'm going to need to salvage. And I believe I've discussed all 3 of the machines, the Kenmore and the Singer particularly. I've done videos where you watched me attempt to save them. So again, I want to make sure that it's clear that if you decide you're going to part out a machine, make sure you've done everything you can, or that you think you can, to try to save it. If you are not a sewing machine restorer, that's fine. You don't have to throw your machine away. And you may say, well, I'm not keeping it. I don't have room and all this. That's fine. That's totally fair. But what you can do is offer the machine as parts to someone who restores them, or even just find a sewing machine repair business if you have one. And you might find someone that can use these parts and just give them away. You may not, maybe you can sell them, maybe you can't. It really depends on where you live and what's going on in your area. And when you do this, you are basically helping to keep things that would be going into the landfill or the recycling, right? These are all metal machines. Most of them most of their parts are metal and can be recycled. And that's something that, again, at least you can have the satisfaction of knowing you didn't totally waste it. The good thing is there are all the three machines that I have salvaged. The Kenmore and the Singer were produced in large number, the Singer being the most plentiful, and then the Kenmore, and then the white model. That company was changing models fairly frequently to try to stimulate sales. So I don't know how many of the 940 model in the white brand are out there, but you know, I will find out if I come across another one, and I'll have plenty of parts for it. So that is a redeeming quality after going through this process. Now, I know that you'll notice as I catalog this, I know that this giant, lovely piece of steel with its spokes, I know this is a hand wheel, right? And hand wheels in Singers, sometimes they are, they will fit multiple models, and sometimes they won't. It depends. And so don't make an assumption. This came off a 66. I'm pretty darn sure that this wheel would fit a Singer 99, and it doesn't matter if it's say an American-made Singer 99, 66, or one that has the K designation because it was made in Kilbowie, Clydebank, Scotland plant. Singer was great about, occasionally they would alter models built in different places, but they were great about consistency. That's one of the things that makes their machines friendly to restore compared to some of the others. How you describe what's in the bag is really up to you. Some of these bags have lots of parts, and I don't individually list each one. I know that if I try to write, even with a permanent, this is like a Sharpie permanent marker, it's going to come off the clear plastic. This white area, which many of you might use to freeze or preserve food, it will also... Oh, by the way, one thing to note here, there's some lovely black paint on this hand wheel, and I don't want to get it scratched. And so with the clutch knob and washer, I don't want it to, clatter around in there. So I'll probably put this in some sort of, even just a paper towel taped up or something to keep it cushioned. I'll probably do that. And of course, what led me to buy the 66 in the first place is this lovely, and it has its bolt, right? I'm gonna keep these two together. Hand crank. This is made by Singer. After all these years and no maintenance, no oiling, it moves so smoothly. Again, the quality is something that you may do fine with an imported copy of this, and if it works for you, that's great. I'm glad you're able to use. If you can't find or don't want to pay for an original crank, but this is something I will do a separate video on. I will, be going through it. It's mostly a cleaning and oiling issue. It's just amazing that something that has not been particularly well cared for over the years is so forgiving. And that speaks well of not only the engineering, that generation of people who engineered these things, but it also talks about how things were cared for. If you had to pay what our ancestors paid for most consumer items, including sewing machines, you would take good care of them too. So the original owner, I have no doubt, took wonderful care of their machine, because it was, they're making payments on these things. They were very costly. It was later, when the original owner, maybe they left it to someone else, or it got bought or sold. Subsequent owners, if they didn't have to pay, they probably didn't appreciate it. So anyway, that is for another video. But I wanted to kind of wrap this up and let all of you know that all of my, get my camera situated here. All of the machines that you have seen in the Salvage series are, what's left of them that I did not harvest are being recycled. Lots of precious aluminum, steel. It is so much less costly to create steel or aluminum from recycled versions than to create it from scratch. And that in itself is a sustainable thing. We have wonderful recycling and waste processing in where I live. I'm always floored at all the things that they will take. And so we harvested the things that could be kept. And again, all of these bags, now I know what they are. I have a whole section of Singer parts. It's probably my largest, but I wanted all of you to hopefully take away, now that I'm reaching my third and currently final salvage video, because I haven't come across another machine yet, hopefully I won't, that I could not, a machine that I could not restore. I want to, again, emphasize to you all that, there are different things you can do with the machine. The number one is always to get it going again. There are people who want to sew, new generations of people who say, I don't want a new plastic piece of garbage, or I'm not willing to pay thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars for new high-tech machines, which may have somewhat better construction than some $179 special or $99 special that you can get. But they know that they want something simpler, something that can be repaired. And hopefully, if you watch enough videos, whether it's my channel or another channel, you can actually repair and keep it up yourself. There are very few things that sewing machines from the vintage era, what I call the golden era, of sewing machines, from the time they were invented up until around the 1960s, 1970s is sort of the end of the road for vintage, what I call vintage heirloom quality machines. Yes, there were times when people would take them in. If it was Singer back in their heyday, they would send someone to your home to service the machine for you. But really, so much of the maintaining of items was done by the owner. And there's a certain satisfaction, I think, that comes with maintaining something that you've spent your hard-earned dollars for. You've worked really hard, and you want something that will last. And people reach out. The reason I think vintage sewing machines became such a popular hobby or popular item for people who sew is because they were made in a time when things were not cheap. These were not cheap items to purchase, and yet they were built to last and built to be serviced. And I'm encouraged, cautiously encouraged, that people, in their 20s who never really saw this era, they've gone online and they said, I don't want that new stuff. It's disposable. I want something that I can take care of. And for many of you, not all of you, but for many people who sew, how many different stitches do you use? Some of you use quite a few, but a lot of you don't. And these vintage machines are really remarkable. They all have different pros and cons. And I have plenty of friends who have vintage sewing machines. They've gotten them from me or others, and they have new machines, and they like their new machines as well. But they go in with eyes wide open. They know that those new machines are an expense, sometimes a very costly expense, and that they're not going to last the way these do. So I appreciate all of you watching, and as I launch this salvage machine series, I hope that this is a series of videos that has very few videos. And in all the years and all the machines that I've seen come across my workbench, these are the three. That's not bad, but I wish it was zero. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. After having seen so many of the machines I've restored and had success, I wanted you to see, well, what happens if it doesn't work out? And it's not all bad, right? These parts are going to be used to salvage other machines. So I appreciate all of you watching, and stay tuned as I introduce new videos in the coming year, and we will see you next time.